What's up, Bass family? This is John Dioria with Bass Magazine, and I hope you're well today. And today I'm thrilled to be sitting here with one of my favorite bassists, super talented, prolific. You know her from A Perfect Circle, Zwan, Pixies, Entrance Band, and now as a powerful solo artist. Please welcome Paz Lenchantin.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you so much for being here, Paz.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. So you're on the road right now, and you're doing a one-person tour where you're taking this big album and you're performing these songs kind of, through the various instruments to these crowds. What's it been like for you so far?
I mean, it's been a great fit to bring my records to record stores. Like, I feel like I have like these records where I'm knocking on your door, and wanting to like, hey, I think you need to have my record at your record store.
Yeah.
It's old school. It's a nice fit to play at a record store when that's pretty much all we're making here.
Right.
It's been interesting to try to make interpretations of my songs live, but I came up with something that is pretty vibey, but the songs really require a band.
Right. But you're doing this kind of solo, and what's it been like? This was a super cool process you went through to create this album, and you did it all on your own. You brought in some guests and such, and composed these songs that are really, big and vibey and all that kind of stuff. How does it feel translating it like this, kind of through your voice and violin and piano?
Well, I was challenged by what to do by myself because I'm basically known as bass, and that's the only instrument I'm not playing on the road. Right. I have the Korg mini log, which I love, and I've written some of the songs on the Korg mini log on the road. I would put it in my suitcase and and start fiddling around. So I like having the Korg and the piano, which most of the songs were written on piano first.
Right.
So it was important to have that as the foundation of the songs, and then the violin.
That's a beautiful thing, and I love how this album came about. And it was kind of, you were like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go this on my own, and you have the songs, and it all started, like you said, with the piano, right?
Yeah, it's a post-Pixies album, and it was something that I've never done, where I'm making an album on my own I have so many songs, especially because Pixies allowed me to write songs. I was inspired to do that, and I had a plethora of songs. I'm like, well, I should, record these at least, on my own. And then had guests replace some of my bad drumming. I kept a couple of my drumming on the tracks that were better, like amateur vibe, but Josh Freese came in, and Jeff Fertides, and polished up my drumming. But for the most part, I played everything. And sometimes, like Troy Van Leeuwen, I was like, well, you just do a solo on this one instrumental section. And then I went to Mexico to get a band together, and they were phenomenal. And we played one big theater show, and they're perfect. But now I'm doing interpretations of the record and doing in-stores only tour, and I'm thankful to be able to get my record out there and in stores.
And that's a cool way to connect directly with fans, and people who've been following you, and especially on this solo kind of journey. Now, you've always been, like you said, known for bass, and you're on stage with these huge, larger-than-life acts, A Perfect Circle, of course, and Zwan and Pixies and all that. How vulnerable was it for you to kind of take these, intimate feelings and emotions that you're emoting through the songs and reveal them to the world?
Well, I think sometimes one person is like a million people. And in these intimate settings, there is a rawness about it that I'm challenged by, that a lot of lights can diffuse. I've never done anything like this. It's just been me and the car, and I'm doing the merch and loading and doing sound. I love setting up. I love wiring. I love taking the time. It's almost like a meditation on the stage.
Right.
To know how everything is wired before you perform gives you this connection with the instruments that you're playing,
Right.
where I'm able to know, it's like getting inside of them, you know, and I've been enjoying wiring everything. People are like, can I help it? It's not that I don't want to help, but I'm actually enjoying wiring it myself
Right.
to get connected with it, you know. So if something is a little bit off, I can adjust it, and it's been great. Been touring with the Dark Glass. That's been amazing. It's been my PA. It's through the Mackie mixer, just putting everything through the mixer and then into the bass amp, basically.
That's beautiful.
I feel like I can play anywhere as long as there's power.
Right. I love that. I love that DIY feel. And you mentioned something about you want to plug everything in on your own. My favorite story from the creation of this album was how you actually did the opposite and you unplugged everything. You kind of rewired.
And
yes.
and I keep that in mind, that
Right.
is how this record was made, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy setting up. And one show, I think it was the last one in El Paso, it was part of the performance because there was an opener and it was such a small stage that I had to set up while everyone watched.
Right.
And it was almost like a performance piece. And I had to tell myself there's no rush, because normally I take my time, you know, but because everyone was standing there, there's this, you know, urgency to get it done. But my grandmother once said, you know, if you want to do something quicker, slow down.
Oh, I like that.
You know.
I've never heard that, and I like that a lot.
You know, so I just was trying to remember to take a deep breath. And even though it seems urgent, it's better to, you know, take it easy and make sure everything is wired correctly. So it was part of, I felt like, the performance.
Right.
Where I normally play a song, the first song that I do in a record store to get everyone to get closer, I create like a sound noise beginning, you know, intro. But this time, because I felt like the wiring was the intro, that I was set off on my set list. But I liked every show has been different that way.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And I also love how bass came into this album, and it kind of rekindled you, because after Pixies, you kind of like put the bass down for a minute, I believe, and, you know, just kind of in this process. And then when you did pick up the bass, you know, you went at it and you played. I remember, I think you were telling me that you had the picture of Miles Davis above the desk. And
that's right. Miles Davis, a great photo of him right after box, because he liked to box.
Right.
And Jim Marshall took this photo. Which is that he's known for Johnny Cash's, like,
right, yep.
Yeah,
really
that's Jim
raw,
Marshall,
like,
and he took this awesome photo of Miles Davis after boxing. So he's kind of sweating, and he's like, he's looking tough like this. He's looking straight in the camera, and I would have it right next to me, like, is that all you got, Paz? Is that all you, you know? And I would look at it, I was like, I don't think it's all I got. You know, I think there's a little more in me, you know? Because, like, you know, this is your solo record. Exactly. Like, is that it? Is that, and I was like, you're right about it, you know? So I would push, I guess the envelope is what people say, on soloing on the guitar, making it weird, you know, make sure that it's off, you know, make mistakes and then redo that mistake, you know, do it strange and then copy it, you know, just like a way to, sorry, I'm getting louder and I got more excited.
No, you're good.
Talking about good. Like Miles Davis got me really excited.
Talk as loud as you like, you can handle it,
He's like,
oh no, it's peaking.
It's peaking. Well, yeah, so I got to learn a lot about myself, but I can't say that I put the bass down. It wasn't the way that I began a song. The piano was the main foundation of all the songwriting. I basically have thousands of songs on piano.
Wow.
And I will just choose like, oh, I want to make a record with this vibe, and kind of choose which songs. And they're not songs, they're just ideas.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A bunch of ideas that I then create them into songs. But so they mainly started with piano, and this record to me was a little bit of a tip of the hat of everything that I've done.
Right.
And especially in bass.
Mm-hmm.
There's the song begins with a very Zwan-like bass line that I wrote for the song Settle Down, where it has like a tip of the hat to everything, like influencing from myself of things that I came up for other people's songs or that I co-wrote in, and maybe didn't get credit for it that I wrote, but now I'm like, well, this is my stuff. I can write it now, you know. And to be honest, not even knowing if I was ever going to perform again, when the curtains close, when you are separated from a band, it's not like any other job.
Right.
You don't go and get another job with a resume. It's a little bit like one man's loss was another man's gain. Like I have to wait for someone to either quit playing bass and they're like what's called pause, or get fired or die. It's like really strange, you know.
Absolutely.
At least at this point, because and so you never know what your outcome is in that situation. And in that unknown there's inspiration there.
Right.
So I used that unknown to create this record of basically set around faith.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And of course, the name of the album, you know, Triste, meaning sad, it was a very transition, you know, it was a transitionary period for you right there. Like, what were you kind of going through, you know, from that? You were coming off the Pixies.
Well, Triste is also like, for example, allegro. Like it's meant to be more of the way you play music.
Right.
There's in classical music, when there are certain kind of words to create the mood for your playing. So Triste to me is more of the mood of the play.
Right.
And it's yes, of course, the words come from some truth, but it also is a play on the music, a play of theater. Theater was in mind, you know, like there's the happy theater guy, and then there's the sad theater guy. It's like now you wear the sad theater guy, the shoegazer, you know, but without necessarily being shoegazing music, it has everything kind of worked around that. And in my performance, I definitely chose the songs that emphasize that sadness. Yeah. Like the harmonica has that lonely sadness, you know, the violin is known for the weeping sadness. You know, so this melancholy of theater.
Right. That's beautiful. And of course, on the album and everything you've done since the early 2000s is your bass that is now somewhat of an iconic bass that you've been playing this whole time. And your P, that was what you used for the whole album, right?
Yes. Oh, no, I did also one song used the Gibson Thunderbird. Yeah. Right.
There was one exception.
There's one exception because it's in the beginning of Sinon, where it's like, I needed to just feel that extra, you know, I think I even made like a stance when I played, you know, but for the and every time that I try other basses, I love playing other, you know, whatever, any string instrument, but I always replace it with my Fender because it's seriously the best sound I've ever had. It is also great to record with. It is a very even sound. It needs little compression.
Right.
We want to leave the compression to when you master. You don't want too much pre anything, you know, because already you're going to start squishing, and then when you press it on vinyl or press it on anything, you squish it again. Things are going to get squished.
Yes.
So getting a bass that is even makes it less necessary to compress it.
Right.
Which will have a lot more body to it. I learned a lot from working with Chris Cody on this, who mixed it. And even though I have my own concepts, I realized that, for example, in drums, the less you do, I was stacking violin, I was stacking drums. The less you do, the bigger the sound, the more space there is. Like, there's a reason why it used to be 4 tracks.
Right.
And these sound huge.
Yes.
Is because that space in between each track creates this volume that doesn't need so much compression. And I learned that I could do a lot with just a kick, a tom, a snare, and a tambourine.
Right. Yeah.
A lot.
Yep.
That sounds
a lot
bigger
of ground.
than a full drum set.
Yep.
And I was like, maybe I can play drums. But so, it was really fun for me to produce this. I never wanted to leave the studio. I found that if there was something outside of performing that I had a lot of passion for, and that is producing.
Right.
And I'm interested in producing other bands. Producing my own stuff can get very, subjective.
Yes.
And so it would be interesting to see what I can come up with.
Did the album change for you once you kind of brought people in? You brought in, a couple instrumentalists to play, and then, obviously someone to kind of finish producing it. Like, did the process kind of shift when outside ears came in?
Well, I had the record pretty much finished, except for maybe a couple of last minute songs. But I knew that it sounded to me like a demo, or more than that. I couldn't hear it anymore because I'm the only person in the room. And you become, again, very subjective to it, that you lose the ears. And just having another person replacing it. So Jeff Fertides did most of the replacing of my work.
Right.
Meaning, for the most part, I would play. And also because you want similar drum sounds. So even though he replaced the drums on one song, then we start looking at the drum sound on other songs. And it's like, let me just replace those because the setup of the microphones should be consistent, things like that.
Yeah.
So we started going okay, why don't you replace this and replace this? But so it changed it to me as I am actually making a record.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what I was doing at that point. I was kind of until someone calls me and wants me in their band, I'm going to be doing this,
Yes, yep.
And then there was a point where I'm like, wait a minute, I'm making a record. And I took myself a little more seriously.
Right.
And then at the very end, when I felt very confident about the tracks, I called Troy. I was like, hey, can you do a solo over this? In that case, it was the only one where I sent him the files and he did it at his house.
Oh, okay.
So he just soloed on I was just do it from this, I don't remember, 12 bars or something of the instrumental. And it was just really, I think I was in the mixing phase when that happened.
Yeah.
And poor Chris Cody was like, I thought we were done. And
here comes the solo.
I couldn't stop it. Again, I was having another ear changed how I could hear it. And I had to make these changes knowing that these slight differences will make it better.
Right.
And I didn't want to regret it. You've come this far. And, but yeah, it was a learning process. And in music, in my life, I'm challenged by different kinds of things that maybe other people have had, where this is my first debut record, even though I put it out myself and had to do everything myself. It's like I've been doing what I've been doing for 25 plus years, you know. I think was it 1999. What is that? 28 years? I don't even know. 29 years.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's been prior to that, but I mean, the first real tour with A Perfect Circle was 1999.
Right.
Prior to that, I was just an LA bassist.
Right.
And all of these years, I put out demos, I put out things, but this felt like a complete idea of a release, and a full-length release. So
absolutely,
I had to do it.
Yeah, and so you had to.
I had to. I was just like, you know.
And everyone's so glad that you did. And looking back at that, a beautiful thing nowadays is that thanks to YouTube and the internet, things live on forever. And you can go revisit what you just spoke of, those early days of 1999, 2000, you coming out, playing with The Perfect Circle. What's it like to kind of look back and reflect on that now at this point in your career?
Well, I still believe in vinyl. I believe vinyl is actually forever.
Yes.
We don't really know these like 0110s and zeros and what's like in the ether.
Right. Something could wipe it at any point.
Well, I'm not saying that necessarily. It's just that I still believe in matter.
Right.
Matters.
Yes. Matter matters.
And vinyl is the most exquisite of the matter of music. Because music is already ethereal and, you know, is in space. It happens only in the moment. Music is played by a musician because there's an audience and we share this moment together. That's what music kind of has been. And vinyl has created a matter of that is almost a whole different part of music, which has a lot to do with production. But then it becomes something we have album covers of, and we can look at it, and it's almost like, you know, when you eat cereal and you look at the cereal box.
Of course,
you know, and there's something about the duality. It's like, I have to eat cereal and look at the cereal box. I have to listen to a record and read the, you know, credits or the liner notes or and look at the art and just get inside of it, you know. And that still, to me, is a way of experiencing a record and experiencing the artist in the way the artist made it for you to experience. And it correlates to rock music. Prior to that, with classical and all of it's been different, you know. Or there's church, you know, where you're supposed to sing at church.
The hymnals
and that has never been judged. Right. But vinyl is the best format to look at art. It's the best format to have it in your hands, and with the right, you know, amp and the right speakers and the right needle and the right, you know, situation. It's the best way to listen to the record. But the other formats are great too. They have their reason. Like, it would be a lot easier to have CDs on the road.
Of course. Physically,
You know, it doesn't melt in the heat, you know. And I've been so careful about, like, you know, bringing in the vinyl, you know, making sure the places that I stay are like ground level, and, you know, because I'm touring where it's hot, you know. And these things are sensitive to the heat, you know. So, but that's part of the legacy of the journey of this record, of going door to door, basically, and saying, I drove around the United States to bring you these. And that has a currency.
Absolutely.
I don't even mean like of money. It just
Right.
it's just a currency exchange
Yep.
of something that I made.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
That's a beautiful thing. I love that. And so going back, because I could talk about this a lot, to the bass, that was, sorry, I talk about your bass a lot with you.
Yeah, well, you know,
It kind of
this
matches.
is a bass player
Exactly,
magazine.
yes.
Best to talk about the thing.
Exactly. So when you first got that, it was actually dated wrong, right?
That's correct. When I bought it, they said it was 1970.
Right.
And this was in 2002. And my luthier friend in LA, he's like, what year do you think this is? Like he's looking at it, he's amazing. He's really like a genius. And he's like, maybe you might want to close your eyes for this. And because he took it all apart, and then when he takes out the neck, and he's like, I have a feeling this was stamped, there's a stamp in there.
Yep.
And sure enough, he opened it up and there's the red stamp, 1965, June 5th, I think.
Oh,
June,
dude,
it says June.
The birthday's in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, you got to see? That's a big day.
Yeah, it's a big day. And 1965, and it was USA stamped. And he goes, I just made you a lot of money.
That 5-year botch-up matters.
Yeah, it really does matter. Not that I'm ever going to sell it, but
no.
It'll be in my will.
Of course. I also love the story of how you acquired that bass, which was, what year was that around?
That was 2002.
Crazy.
And it was when I joined Zwan.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was when I actually joined Zwan, because we were on the, still trying each other out.
Yeah.
I was still with a Perfect Circle, even though Perfect Circle was on hiatus because Tool was now touring.
Yep.
And everyone had another band, but I didn't have another band.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I like to stay busy, just like Maynard. We're kind of similar
course.
like that. It was like, what else can I do?
Yep.
And so I just finished a tour with Smashing Pumpkins, A Perfect Circle. It was 2001.
Right.
Or 2001. And he called me, knowing that, I think that Perfect Circle now was going to go maybe ride or take a break because Maynard was going with Tool. And he gives me a call. And when I arrived with my bass, it was like this active bass with a bunch of knobs. I had the low end knob. I think it was like a 90s Fender.
The all black
Precision,
one?
Yeah. Precision Fender 1990. It was like a new bass when I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like from 98 or something. And it had a lot of knobs, and it was cool, and I thought it was the best bass in the world. And I show up really proud, I had like my strap like down to here, and it was just this thick, and I'm like playing in this kind of more, the band Zwan had a more hippie-esque vibe that he knows that I have innately, even though I have a lot of things. I'm like gothy, I like a lot of things, but there is that hippie side of me that he noticed and was wanting to pull out. And he looked at me and he's like, Paz, I don't think that's your bass. And I'm like, what do you mean is not my bass? So, I was like, I've been playing this bass. I was so proud of this bass. He's like, what do you mean it's not my bass? He goes, did you choose that bass? Did you go out and buy that bass? I was like, actually, Billy Howardell. And it was a gift of like, we're going on the road and I got you a nice gift. Yeah. And so I was very proud of it. And he goes, but did you pick it out? Did you? And I said, no, I didn't actually. And because we need to find you your bass.
Yes.
The bass that you choose.
Yes.
That you like. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I don't know what I like, but I know I like Fender.
Yes. Yep.
And I know I'm connected to Fender, and I have tried a lot of basses. And so I went on a hunt, and I would bring this kind of small PV amp around with me that had a neutral tone. And I would say, give me, and I would choose all the basses from, different instrument stores in Chicago.
Right.
It's like, I want to try all of them. I want only like the classic basses.
Vintage.
The vintage,
Yep.
70 and,
Before.
older, But I didn't want to know how much it was. I didn't want to make the decision because of the price, because I know how I am.
Right.
And I'm like,
That'll
I wanted to
influence.
really I really wanted to pick the one that felt right. And of course, it was the most freaking expensive one.
Yep, in the whole store.
Yeah.
Yep, that checks out.
I got that, and also at the same time fell in love with this little parlor guitar. That was a Martin 1926.
Ooh, nice.
That they gave me an amazing price for this thing. It's gorgeous. I play it on this record.
Nice.
I love this guitar, and in perfect condition. And both guitars, I love rosewood.
Yes.
And both the rosewood work on both guitars, the bass and the guitar, were exquisite. And that was part. But it's a strange bass because it's much narrower than any headstock that I've ever played.
Interesting, yeah.
And I don't know if that's the reason why it feels wider.
Right.
Or if it's been so worn down.
Yeah.
My blood is now on this bass.
I'm sure.
with with the entrance band, there was this one song that I would strum with my nails, and I was doing a lot of finger playing on this, just all over the place, which was one of my favorite things about that band. Is, it was a shredding band.
Yes.
Always wanted to shred.
Yep.
And I was like, this is the opportunity.
That was the
to
vehicle
shred.
for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we sounded like a 5-piece band.
Of course, as
and it
a
was
trio.
Just as a trio.
Yep.
And it was an opportunity to shred.
Yes.
And then once I did that, I was like, okay, now pick 'em Pixies, which is like, I did that. Now the minimal is an art form. But I had to get the shredder out of me.
Right.
And so there's blood stains. My DNA is on this bass, which is one of my favorite things.
I love that
about the bass.
Yeah,
one of
part
them
of you.
is that it is part of me.
Yep.
It is part of whatever happens after.
Right.
And forever, it's like
That's the bass.
it's like having a chip on your dog or something.
Yep.
It's like, now let me.
Let's DNA test this. Yeah, that's me right there. Yeah, forever you can identify it. And I love that too, because one of the last times we talked about all this, you talked about how selective the playing was in the Pixies. You were kind of like, it was like figuring out brushstrokes, because it was very subtle playing, and then making this record. You had the freedom to kind of, focusing on bass right now, like do what you wanted. You had freedom to do everything.
Yes, but again, like what I wanted to do is give a tip of the hat of everything that I have done.
Right, yes.
So it was like, I wasn't trying to reinvent any wheel, I was just doing the things that I have done for others in a collective. And then adding strings and piano and orchestral kind of form. But with Pixies it was a different challenge because I never filled anyone's shoes before. And I gave a lot of respect in that challenge in a sense. Maybe more than I needed to.
Right, yeah.
But I cared that much where my shredder head was like, oh, she did like a millisecond pause there before
Right.
like all the tiny nuances.
Yeah.
Where if you watch her play live, she doesn't even
Of
do
course,
it.
no. She's blazing, smoking a cigarette.
She's kind of doing it, but I'm like, but this is how you did it on the record.
Yes.
And I refused to like look at any charts or anything. I just did it for what I heard.
Yeah.
And from that challenge, which everything has its challenge, I put this as my new challenge, which is just doing a solo record.
That's
and
a big challenge.
I played the guitar also, the violin, the bass, piano, sang. I did have a friend of mine that was staying with me do backups on a couple of songs.
Nice.
Which is hard for me to say because she has the most beautiful voice.
Yeah.
That she's such a front person. So to have her just do like backups on something was kind of like, do you mind? She's like, no, I would love to.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Of course, that and it's different for bass players. You've always, since you came on the scene in 98, 99, sang and played at the same time. Like, I can think of, concerts of Perfect Circle, thinking of you and you blaring while playing. Has that always been natural to you to play and sing? Because on bass, it's kind of...
it's. I almost like to do it more than not do it.
Does it feel weird if you're not singing at some
No,
points?
but with Pixies, definitely I was doing a lot more singing.
Yes.
And some of them sometimes soloing, like being the front person. So, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I would create complicated bass lines just to have a challenge.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can do this and do those.
Yep.
So I look forward to a challenge,
Yes.
so I'm not like bored.
Of course, yeah.
But for the most part, I know that they have a kind of formula that I try to always maintain. But if I was going to make another solo record, I want to make a ballads record, a very minimal ballads record.
Okay, yeah. Very vocal centric, or
just more minimal.
Okay.
And kind of geared towards. I love ballads.
Yeah.
And if you look at old, like a lot of the history of music, it's the ballad that made them successful.
Oh, big time.
Like,
yes.
Kiss.
Yep.
Aerosmith.
Yep.
It's really the ballad that makes you, not that that's what I'm thinking of, it's just the power of ballads.
Yes.
The power ballad.
Yes.
And I don't know, I've been just digging that a lot.
Right.
When I was choosing some of the songs that I wrote, I created this vibe for the next record.
Yeah. I love that. So can we expect that? Is that kind of something that's in the back of your head?
It's in the back of my head, but right now I kind of just need a job.
Right, yeah.
I had a great time doing this, but it's time to get back to work.
Like you said, you don't like to sit still and you don't like to...
Well, yeah. I mean, I just, being a solo artist has also its challenges, where no one knows who I am as a soloist, So... yeah, it's time to get back to work.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't been working,
of course.
but I mean,
you've been a one-person operation
getting
through
some sort
all
of
of
paycheck.
This. Yes.
I'm breaking even at this point, and which has been fun. Not to talk about that part. But
yeah, of course.
It is important, and I'm curious what would come.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if I put myself out there, because I enjoy it. I enjoy playing But I'm curious by putting myself out there, what I can attract.
Absolutely. Yeah, big time. And so what's coming up next for you then? You're at this has been a long stretch of road for you?
Yeah, I'm most likely going to set up a similar thing, East Coast, for the fall.
Yep.
And I've been asked to go to Europe doing this kind of similar situation. So it's been easy for me to be by myself.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of stress being the person to handle a whole band
Right.
and bringing them on the road
Of
with
course.
not like, it's just a lot. So
Yeah.
to keep it simple, I like what I did solo. I want to continue to, put my record out there in the East Coast, a little bit in Europe, and then, I'm good with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't need to push much further and get back into the studio or join another band.
Right, yeah.
Those are the kind of options that I'm seeing
Beautiful.
with the interest of producing, but right now that's not the priority.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that's wonderful. Well, finally, since I have you here, I've had the pleasure, we've worked together for like 21 years. I think I figured out a lot of interviews, a couple cover stories, and all of that. One thing I always mean to talk to you about is probably my favorite snippet of a music video ever is A Perfect Circle's Judith. And it's where Billy's taking a guitar break, and you go and you grab a scrunchie, and you wrap your hair around.
No scrunchie. This just hair in a knot.
That was what it was?
Yeah.
It was just you
no
doing it
scrunchie,
up?
no rubber band, no. My hair was so
See,
long.
I have to revisit that now.
And so the story
Tell me
was
about that. I've always been curious about this.
David Fincher was now making films. He
Right.
already did Fight Club.
Yep.
And the chairman of Virgin was like, I really want David Fincher to do your music video.
Yes.
She called him, and he was like, I don't do music videos anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, but you'll like this band. You'll like, just meet them,
Right.
So he comes to our rehearsal, and he sees me doing this during Thinking of You.
Oh.
Now, Thinking of You has a very long break.
Yes.
And it was hot in the room.
Yeah.
My hair was down to my butt.
Of course,
and I put it up in this, in this knot, and that's how I can do it. So my hair is,
Right.
I've just always done it like that. No rubber band, no scrunchie, no anything.
Wow.
And he saw me do that, and I had a pick in my mouth.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
And so when he finally agreed to do the music video, and it came to doing it for Judith,
Yeah.
the break is only like
Short.
like it's very short.
Yeah.
And mind you, he wanted to shoot it on 35 millimeter.
Ooh, yeah.
And there's only one camera.
Wow.
And there's like 200 plus edits.
Oh my gosh.
Of different shots. So we had to do this thing 200 and plus times in stilettos. And like
Holy
making
cow.
sure my hair would stay up in the
Yes.
little like knot that I did.
Yep.
I don't grab anything. I'm just playing, put the thing in my mouth and just put my hair up.
Crazy.
And of course, sometimes the hair didn't last
it would come
and
out.
it would just come down.
Yep.
And at the very end of editing, and again, we had 10 days of shooting this.
Man.
Right, that looks like
200 some takes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it looks like it was just done in like with one
Of course,
camera.
just like that. Yeah.
And I was the one that said yes to the stilettos. Okay, by the end,
that's a challenge in itself.
I
Right.
like lost weight just standing. You know, and he was like, pause, like what do you call it when it's the sequence is off? It's starting to get off,
Yeah.
because like you're looking thinner than the first shot.
Right.
But yeah, it was like 200 shots.
Man.
And then at the very end, I noticed when they were like, they needed to okay it by the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught two, because they're all like 2 seconds each edit.
Just little quick.
Very quick. And I caught 2 hair downs. From these
I
tiny
see.
ones
Yep,
that
yep. You're like
he's
right
like,
there.
damn, like we missed that, and I
Yep.
caught it.
You have the eyes.
Yeah, and so then they like changed it, but because I knew how many times the hair didn't last towards the very end. It would last in the beginning, but then at the end, it most likely would fall because of the small time for me to put it up.
Right.
But I see now people doing like a version, like girl
They're
bass
doing little
players.
tributes to it and all this
and
stuff.
they use rubber bands.
Okay. See, yours was
And
just fair.
I want to see
clarifying that.
I want to see the long hair girl doing it.
I love that. It's an
it's
amazing
very
shot.
cute.
It goes with the heels up and then the timing of the hair pick out and then right in. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite music video moments ever. So
Yeah,
I'm glad I finally got
thanks.
to chat with you about that. And yeah, and Paz, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. For you out there, if you haven't listened to this yet, get Paz's solo album, Triste. She's going to be hitting the road again. And thank you so much, as always, for taking the time.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely.